Norway is the second happiest country in the world, if you believe the surveys. And one of the great things about living there is it's really, really rich. Now, it struck oil in the 1960s and has invested the proceeds in a sovereign wealth fund that is now the world's biggest. So we sent Charlotte Dubenskij to Norway to see how the other half lives.
This modern nation was built on the profits from oil, and for years it's been cruising along at a steady rate. Though the price of oil has fallen significantly in the last year, Norway has been cushioned from any immediate impact. Established in 1990, the oil fund was set up to counter fluctuations in the market, and it's now worth more than $860 billion.
We were hit by falling oil prices. Obviously, that was problematic for the oil industry, but it didn't cause a major crisis for the economy as a whole. The oil fund is one part of that, where government was able to counteract the downturn. But the second part of that is that consumers and businesses in the rest of the country, the pessimism didn't really affect them, and they kept acting as normal.
Government revenues from oil and gas flow into the fund, which then invests it in stocks, shares and real estate.
The idea is that the fund is bottomless and it won't ever run out, giving Norwegians a sense of security in the future when the oil reserves are depleted. And that's because the government limits the amount that it takes out every year. And the hope is that in the long term, returns on the fund's investments will replenish that, essentially balancing it out.
Every year that money is added to the government's general budget and is used for the benefit of all Norwegian citizens. No wonder it's popular.
In Norway we have the word called dugnad, which is that you have to work together to have a good community, and everyone has to chip in. And I think it's a really nice system, and I'm really proud of Norway for having it.
It means that we have a very good welfare system in the state, the healthcare. It's good for the healthcare.
It means that we got a sustainable government economy, I think, and we're doing investments in mostly good corporations.
That's not always been the case, and the fund now has an ethics council to monitor where the money is invested. Over the last decade, that's meant some changes, though some say more are needed.
The tobacco is totally off limits, and they also opted for no to nuclear weapons. So those two are obviously out of question. We want the fund to invest in renewables.
But the success of the current setup means that's unlikely to change in the short term. By the end of the decade, Norway's fund is projected to be worth more than $1 trillion. And with experts predicting the country still has extensive reserves of untapped oil, it's only likely to get richer. Charlotte Dubenskij, TRT World, Oslo.